Good morning, folks. This is Mark Anthony, and I've got a special guest today. We've got Mr. Michael Miller. He is a journeyman with IDEW. He is going to talk to us about electrical safety, light electrical work, and how he adheres to all of the safety rules and regulations while trying to get his job done. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
Can't complain. Can't complain. So my first question for you is, how do you balance the demands of live electrical work with the requirements and guidelines of safety? How does that work?
Interesting question. The balance is you can either adhere and keep your job and your life, or unbalance and lose your job and possibly your life.
Okay.
So that's the balance. It's about choices. And over the years, you realize that working safely is the best choice, and it should just be a way of working.
Okay. So what happens when you have to get a lot of work done, but it's, I guess, kind of getting in the way of working safe? What happens then? Is there a conflict of interest, or?
Well, it could be. And I think one of the better or best things that has happened is when you actually see an employer that says, hey, wait a minute. I realize that's going to take some time, but I'd rather you take the time to do it right and do it safely than do it like that. And you may think you're going to be finished quicker, but if there's an accident, then that's actually going to take longer.
Right.
So when you have someone that is backing you and saying, yeah, you are correct, that will take a little bit more time, but that is the correct way to do it. It reinforces a lot, and it helps you realize that, hey, someone else is thinking about me just like I'm thinking about my family.
Right.
So
like
yes. So that helps you do your job a lot better.
Okay. So you could put yourself in the safety professional's shoes here, right?
You have to.
Okay.
You have to understand that just like you have a job, that individual has a job.
Right. Yeah.
And just like you try to come in with a good attitude and a productive mindset, you're hoping that safety professional came in with one as well. That you all are actually working together, that you're on a team working together towards one common goal.
That's a fair point. So what are some of the challenges when it comes to safety in live electrical? What have you seen?
The biggest one I could think of is when whenever we have to suit up, as we say, and put on, extra protective equipment.
Make it sound like the Ghostbusters, man. Tell me more.
Yeah. So arc flash is a very big one, of course. So there are measures in place where you have to wear more than just a hard hat, a pair of glasses, and a simple pair of gloves.
Right.
You have to wear Kevlar pants, jacket, several pair of gloves, and a hood.
You going to war? Like, what's going on?
Hey, yeah, you are. Because that electricity is your enemy sometimes. I always say electricity is your friend. Think about it. Right now, we're using electricity. It's your friend.
Relying on it, right? You want to.
But at the same time, I also liken it to having a pet rattlesnake. So, yeah. You're the only one that knows it's a pet. He has no clue. But all that to say seriously is that what we work with, the industry that we work in, those things are designed to protect us if something goes wrong.
Okay.
And everything that I was telling you about, sometimes they make things go wrong. You got a pair of gloves on and you're trying to, manipulate a screwdriver. Try doing that with oven mitts or a boxing glove. That's what it's like.
Okay. So it's kind of hard to hold it.
Yeah. Think about you getting a a pair of boxing gloves to change a light bulb.
Right.
You know, how much dexterity are you going to have? Okay. So I get it. You're trying to protect me, but at the same time, the one thing that I know and have been taught on how to use my tools, I can no longer do because I'm being literally handcuffed. And that's just my opinion. Okay. I got these huge gloves on and I'm trying to use my hand tools. Well, I'm using my hands, but they're covered.
And the tools are designed to be used with the bare hands and the fingers exposed, etc. But
Yeah, gloves at you know, regular gloves.
I can see
Yes,
that.
but when you got on you have like a pair of cotton gloves on, a pair of vinyl gloves on, and then a pair of high voltage gloves. You got 3 pair of gloves on, you know, whereas you're accustomed to having maybe one. So now you got like 2 extra. Not to mention you got this coat that you feel like you should be somewhere in the
Antarctica.
Antarctic. Yeah. And you're indoors and it's already 80 something degrees. And now you got a coat on and a hood on and some pants. And then you can throw in, most of the time this does not take place on level ground. You're you're doing aerial work.
And scaffolding.
Yeah. And
Okay.
now you got on a harness.
You know, it does almost make it sound like there needs to be, I guess, a greater focus on PPE design and feasibility.
That is fair. And that
Because you need to set people up for success, right? Like on one
exactly
hand, like yeah, you need to be in the Iron Man suit. Okay, cool, awesome. But on the other
exactly
hand, you know, if the suit comes with certain inconveniences, it makes it hard to do what the suit was designed to allow me to do. Then
right. Because when you uh I think a mindset would be is the moment you get to your workplace when no one's watching, you're going to do what you got to do to get that job done.
okay, because at the end of the day, that's why I hate to say this is why they're paying you, right? Like you said, you can get this done in X amount of time, and like what's the hold up?
So
But
literally, as they say, the gloves are going to come off.
okay,
Yeah, and
but
yeah.
one can also argue that if you're doing a work plan or any kind of pre-planning, that you know, if you know that PPE is going to take additional time, that time should probably be built in proactively. No.
It should, but at the same time, along with that is, can you actually do it?
Mm-hmm.
Can you actually do that with what you're giving me?
Right.
So, yeah, that's one of the challenge. That to me is the biggest challenge. And I would say the next one is to convince that individual, hey, this is to help you, not to hinder you.
Okay.
This is for your protection. Because again,
That's kind of like, hey, this is getting in my way.
right.
Okay.
So and you're gonna have to be taught and trained to work in as such.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to, okay, I gotta don this outfit, and now I have to, the skills that I have, I'm putting them to the test now because I literally have to do this.
Okay.
So yeah.
Hmm. And what role does ongoing training and education play in staying current?
Well,
Like, how effective is training? What training have you received?
this class, for one, I took an OSHA class. Think education and training is a must
Okay.
and is a very important key. Uh, Without knowledge, that I mean, if I don't have the knowledge as a wireman, I cannot do that job.
Right.
If we don't have the knowledge of safety, then how are we going to do our job, regardless of what craft we are? How are we going to do our job? In other words, if safety is driving and we don't have that knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
really we can't even be a passenger. I mean, how are you going to know that someone is telling you correctly? you know.
Good point. So you
So
need to have that base of knowledge for yourself so you could take it with a grain of salt and determine, hey, this is my life, right? I need to determine what the hazards are. So it's in my best interest, on ultimately the onus is on me to know
absolutely,
what's best for me. But I won't really know what's best for me if I don't know what exists. I don't know what proper safety looks like, what prevention looks like, that kind of stuff.
absolutely. Everything you said is fair and I would say correct because um, you we have to make informed decisions, but
Mm-hmm.
more importantly, we have to not buy into, not believe, but we have to know that working safely is the best thing for all involved.
Hmm. Can you think of a time when you kind of had a conflict of interest? You had to get the job done, but maybe you were put in a dangerous situation, and people were saying, "Well, hey, you have to wear this PPE, or you have to do it this certain way." And maybe they go start to go into means and methods a little bit, and you're like, "Look, man, I'm trying to get this job done. I get I need to be safe. I'm experienced." How much of a role did your experience play? Do you feel like it gave you a false sense of security, or maybe they were wrong?
Well, uh, the instance I think of, and I won't use names or anything, but there was
What?
an actual
Yeah, it is.
actual project that I was working
Mm-hmm.
where we were doing aerial work,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually got with our safety person
Okay.
and allowed us to, within the guidelines of the equipment and the job, to make a modification to where we could actually do our job. But if it was something that we had not gotten with this safety person on, in other
Mm-hmm.
words, if we just chose to do it, by all rights, they could be like, oh, okay, that's a violation. You're done. You're out of here.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, but because everybody got together, and when I say, I mean management, everybody,
Mm-hmm.
we looked at it and, we were like, hey, we really have to do this in order to do this. You
Right.
know, you're talking about not being able to do it at all. And that's within, that's a scope. That's part of what we're doing here. Okay, it's understood and this will be done and done in this manner. And we have to make sure we address this on a daily basis. Just because we're talking about it now, it's not a one time and just go with it. No, this
Our
will,
constant monitoring, constant oversight.
yeah, it was addressed every single shift. When we came into work,
Mm-hmm.
even though we were doing that same task, we addressed it as such and made sure that we understood what we were doing.
Okay.
So the fact that you recognize again that everyone has a job to do, rather than just blow that person off, rather than just say, I know what I'm doing and I know I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You go through the proper channels and you got the proper response and were able to do the job properly, safely. And at the end of the day, everyone was okay and no injuries, no nothing. So that it's best to just do what's right, you know,
Like that.
because even if you think uh, when you do something right and you don't get the job done,
Mm-hmm.
that should show someone, okay, something's going on here. We
Right.
did it as safely as we could, but we did not achieve the end result that we needed.
So it helps you identify that there's a systemic problem.
Hopefully, yes. And that we can,
All the
again,
variables are controlled. We can't really say it was poor judgment, lack of training, lack of resources. The equipment hadn't been inspected, anything like that. Is, hey, maybe it's the method, maybe it's the system or the way that we plan to do it in the first place.
absolutely. And the bottom line is we need to try to figure this out because at the end of the day, we have a job we got to get done.
Mm.
And, that's what drives us,
Right.
that's so, yeah.
Gee. Well, Mike, my last question here is what advice would you give to someone new in the electrical field? a new electrician or even a new safety person about prioritizing safety and effectively applying, EHS principles, NFPA 7E, and just general rules of thumb for a journeyman?
Safety should be the priority, and you need to believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
And don't look at it as a me against him, me against her.
Mm-hmm.
It is a team building effort,
Okay.
and be able to work together.
So everybody
for a common goal, so everyone can go home at the end of the day the same way they came in.
Okay.
We always say with all your fingers and toes. So
right.
So yeah.
Right. You want to
Yeah.
try.
So you want to make it, again, not so much I think as a choice, but as just a way of working. It should be just like breathing.
Right.
So it should be that common and involuntary.
I agree with that. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, Mike, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about electrical safety with us today. I think you answered quite a few questions and gave us a good insight into what it's like being an electrician and having to navigate the safety rules and dealing with safety professionals, and what was the best way to go about doing that. Right. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for helping.
We'll have another episode out soon. Stay watching and stay safe.